Hello everybody and welcome to another 2023 Lamley Awards Showcase. Matchbox licensed new models. This is prolific. They put out a ton of new models. This will be divided in two. These will be Matchbox polls on lamleygroup.com. Best new model and most disappointing new model. And I should clarify, licensed new model. They may have had a couple non-licensed models out this year. Don't remember how many, if any, but mostly licensed. This will be basic, and I'm differentiating basic as non-moving parts and then moving parts. You know, Hot Wheels will do basic and premium, you know, premium being metal bases, you know, two-part tires, all that kind of stuff. But with Matchbox, it's different. They don't differentiate too much between a premium and a basic, but more between like a basic and a moving parts. So we're going to go through all of the basics today, and then we're also going to go through the moving parts because there's a ton of those that came out, new models as well. And we'll do that in a separate video and poll and pictures and everything else. But go to lamleygroup.com. There's a link down below. And then you can vote on the model that you think is best and the model that you think is most disappointing. Most disappointing, as we always say, isn't the worst. It's the model that you were most excited about and really didn't live up to the hype. For that reason, I'm going to show you two licensed models that will not be included in the poll this year. This is one. It's this tractor. What's it called? The Monarch tractor. It's awesome. It's a very cool, very Matchbox-esque modern tractor. Makes a ton of sense. I think this is actually an EV tractor, and it's great. The other one that I'll include in here that I'm not going to include is the Rhino, right? Is this right? Is it what it's called? No, Polaris. Polaris? Ranger. I don't know why I called it Rhino. Anyway, the Polaris Ranger. Both of these are great. Cool replicas of real vehicles, but they tend to skew the vote. I really, really want to focus. It doesn't always work out, and I will showcase whatever ends up being voted most disappointing. But what happens a lot is something like this. This is why I don't include motorcycles in the Hot Wheels polls, is that sometimes, you know, people don't like this kind of stuff as much. And most Lamley, you know, a lot of what I cover with Lamley and a lot of what you guys like me covering are the real cars, the actual cars you see on the road, sports cars, real cars. And so we're going to stay focused there. And as cool as these are, and some of you might be disappointed that these aren't included, I'm actually keeping them out of the polls because they tend to, people go, well, I don't like tractors, so I'm going to put in there. Well, by voting for a tractor, you would be saying that I am a big tractor fan, and that was the most disappointing model because I really, really like tractors more than other things. You know, you see where I'm going. Let's get to it. Let's just start walking through these. This is in random order. Sometimes I do them in order of release. This time it's just in random order. I'm grabbing them. I'm showing them. We'll start with this. This is the 1980 AMC Eagle. I'll talk briefly about them. This is actually obviously a 1980 off-road wagon. Wood paneling is very appropriate here. This was a very common car to see on the roads way back when. I knew a few kids my age whose parents drove one of these. Might have had a ride in one of these or two over the years, but really, really cool. Matchbox, a lot of realism, a lot of factory style models, a lot of cool kind of obscure choices. This definitely falls in that. Still going on. I'll try and go as quickly as I can. Porsche. Lots of Porsches everywhere. Seems like this is the year of the Porsche. This is the Porsche 910. I'm showing this 70th anniversary version. It was the only version released if you don't count the exclusive versions that released at the convention in Germany. And I don't have those, but this is, we're really judging the casting more than anything. This one was actually released with a metal base, so it's basic, but it has a metal base. It just doesn't have the moving parts, as we've discussed. Really cool racing, like Porsche racing vehicle. It was nice to see Matchbox do. Moving on, this was a recent release, well, last couple months, is the Volvo 740, right? 240. 1986 Volvo 240, another 80s vehicle, classic 80s vehicle, one that I think, again, I'll probably say this more than a few times in this video, Matchbox-esque. You know, we tend to use that term for cars like this, you know, very stock looking, factory looking models of choices of cars that were on the road. Another one that I probably had friends whose parents had many of those. Another one, very common on the road. Matchbox has done the entire gamut of Broncos, right? Of the current Bronco. They've done the two-door full-size Bronco, or the four-door, yeah, and the two-door. And then this is the Bronco Sport. And basic release, dollar release, really looks good in that color. I really like that kind of mint color. I'm glad they've done it all. This one has the plastic top. You know, they've played with the plastic a little bit to make it a window and kind of a thick roof. I think, yeah. I'm trying to look at it and see how they detailed this one. And then the tampos are really nice on this one. Matchbox has, I understand the kind of inkjet look that some people get frustrated on with some of these models, but Matchbox has actually been known through, I mean, this is super close up, but Matchbox has really been known over the last few years of being pretty precise. I don't know if it's the factory they use, but being pretty precise in their tampo placement and details. That one's pretty cool. All right, another, I guess you could call this obscure. This is the 1992 Mazda Autozam AZ1. It's a Mazda. I don't know too much about this car, and I don't think we saw this in the US. I could be wrong, but you know, it's a Mazda. It's a really unique car. What year again? 1992. This would make sense. Those unique looking headlights, everything else. Very, very cool car, and an interesting car. This one might be something, those of you who like interesting cars might say that's one that we want to show. I'm going to so run out of room, so we're just going to be stuffing these cars as we go. Australia. I think our Australian friends were very happy to see another Holden. This is the Holden VF Commodore SSV, done in a police livery. I'm assuming that's how it will remain, but although it doesn't have lights on top, maybe it doesn't, it's not supposed to. Maybe they could do, I don't know. Can you do just a street version of this car? You Australian collectors will have to let me know. But seeing the Holden, there's the Ute that was released several years ago. Lots of fans of that one. Another Holden being released. I think that was a very welcome addition. Jeep. We see a Jeep or two every year. This is the 2023 Jeep Avenger. Street car. Very much a street car. There's a few of these that, you know, like they're not head turners. I don't think this one is, but they're real cars. And they're cars that we're used to seeing on the road, which is kind of nice. And the opposite of that, right, is probably another obscure. Is this an EV? I'm not sure. Renault Twizy. I can't even tell. I know it has an interior, but I can't even tell. Maybe it's just a one-seater. Maybe it is. It's so hard to tell. Unique, interesting. It's like that other one, that little square-looking thing they released last year. I will tell you, like, oh, I don't want to express too many opinions. Sometimes I can't because I know nothing about these cars. We'll go opposite. That thing's really small. This thing's really big. This is the this cab, 1979 Freightliner FLT. I haven't gotten a good sense of this one yet. Obviously, it's a classic cab over engine cab. And you could see this one in the Convoy series, or you could see it being used in the Convoy series. These wheels, again, this is an opinion, but these wheels for me, I want to see this done with different wheels on it because I like these classic cabs a lot, and I think that one is nice. This one was released in the Collector series, and so yeah, the Freightliner might be one that the people are inclined to choose. Plymouth. Yes, 1941 Plymouth. I think that's all it's called. Pretty classic car. Pretty classic silhouette. You'll see one or two of these. The tampos on this, the headlights really clean. You'll always see a car like this or two. Abe Lugo, one of the designers at Matchbox, and has a pretty heavy role in what cars are chosen. Loves cars like this and has cars like this in his driveway and in his garage. And this one seemed like one that's not a surprise to be seen from the Matchbox team. Let's just keep going and let's go complete opposite. The Kig Zig. Jamera, right? I think I'm saying that right. Hot Wheels did one. Matchbox has done theirs. This one in gray. I think we've seen a release in 2024 too, just coming. No reason to compare to the Hot Wheels. They're very similar. The casting, this one might be just a little bit bigger, and I don't know too much about the actual car. to know, you know, which one fits. But if you're a big fan of this Kig Zig, this might be the actual Kig Zig. This one is cool. Has the ghost deco on the roof or on the back, which is kind of cool. And it gets the details all around. So, you know, we don't see a ton of supercars from Matchbox, but that's one that we saw, and that one's really nice. Okay, now we just keep going. Like with Matchbox, you can go back and forth and back and forth. So back to a classic. This is the 1970 Ford Ranchero. This was a wheel variation on this one. This one came with disc wheels and tri-spokes. I found the one with the disc. This is the one I have. But we're not really judging the wheel choices. We're just judging the casting itself. And this is a nice, you know, classic. It's got that Torino front end, you know, similar to the Torino front end. To see the, you know, cool to see a classic El Camino. There was a more of a 60s era El Camino that they've done. I like the 70s better, and I think this is a really nice replica, and I love the color. Love the color. All right. Back to current, back to EV, always an EV. Fisker. This is the, what's the official name of this one? Just the so it's not the Fisker, sorry. Karma GS6. They did the Fisker Karma before. The Fisker name is gone. The Karma name remains. It's a very similar silhouette to the original Fisker Karma, but kind of rebranded, redone, updated, and Matchbox, in keeping with, has done another one. The nice thing about this one is the old Fisker Karma casting had huge wheels. This one doesn't. Seems a little better in proportion, and four-seater, you know, car, four-door car, right? Kind of cool. Again, I don't know too much about that car, but again, variety is cool, and that one is cool. All right, this is kind of an updated casting, but very much new enough. This is the Carmen Gia 1962 VW Carmen Gia. This is just a hardtop version of the convertible, but the hardtop is enough of a modification to be considered a new casting. This one came in the VW set. Now the same car in orange is in a just released 5-pack, and I don't remember what the theme of the 5-pack is, but this is a new model. A lot of VW fans, and getting the hardtop of this is nice, put together with the convertible. All right, let's go current again, just back to EVs. Another EV, it's the Volvo XC40. So Matchbox, or Hot Wheels did that off-road version of the XC40. That isn't faring too well in the most disappointing department. I think it's winning right now in the votes with the Matchbox or with the Hot Wheels new models. But this one is much more factory, and maybe you like this one. Maybe you vote this one best in the Matchbox polls, and that one most disappointing in the Hot Wheels polls. That would be an interesting contrast. But this one's really nice. Again, it's probably closer to, like, you know, with these other cars that we've shown that are just a standard road model with. Well, the XC40, that is an EV, right? Maybe. I know that the new Volvo EVs don't have the grille, but this one does. So maybe this one isn't an EV yet, or it will be. Not entirely sure. There you go, though. But we have the Hot Wheels version. That's the Matchbox version. Very much a nice contrast between the two of them. All right, classic. This one was released in the Collector's Series. This is the custom 1953 Ford cab over engine, the COE. This one gets Real Rider tires on it, and almost looks like a Hot Wheels. And it has Hot Wheels Real Riders on it, so that's probably what creates that. But it does have the Matchbox Speed Shop logo on it. That looks nice. So, you know, upgraded version coming from the Collector's Series, and another kind of that, kind of from that era that I know Abe Lugo really likes. Let's stick that there. Let's keep on going. If we've done classic, let's go current. How about that for a street car? Nissan Sentra. We put this one, and I can't remember the timing. I've been filming everything. This one is in the Matchbox Best Of tournament. And one of the reasons we did it is just because it's a perfect representation of the Matchbox street cars. I'm just doing street cars that maybe don't get a ton of excitement, but they're really, really well done replicas. And this is one of the things that Matchbox does best, and I think the Sentra is very, very representative of that. I'm going to move the camera down a little bit because we're just going and going and going with these new models, and we got plenty more to do. Okay, this is a model that I think is actually considered technically a 2022, but released in 2023, and it is the Toyota 4Runner. Hot Wheels has done theirs in premium. Matchbox did theirs in basic. Pretty factory, pretty stock. I think the TRD Pro is what Hot Wheels did, so it's probably lifted a little bit. And this one really contrasts well as just a factory 4Runner. Really clean. Nice clean casting. So this one in red, I'll just show you real quickly. That's the actual new model. And then this is, I think, the 2023 version in blue. Really dig that. But again, we're judging the casting, so I'm just showing you both. But released in the first mix of 2023. And but really, I think technically 2022 model. And since we're on that thought right now, or we're on that little theme, let's do the other one that came in that mix that was technically a 2022 new model, and it is the Rivan R1T, right? Another one that went into the best of Hot Wheels tournament. Unique front end. This is done very well by Matchbox. Kind of hard to find. I know a lot of people didn't find this one. They were looking for this in that first mix. I found a couple at maybe at Family Dollar, and then maybe once or twice at Dollar Tree. But not an easy model to find, and a really well done casting, to be perfectly honest. Really dig that one, and let's kind of push it into this big mess we're doing. And if we did something current, let's do something vintage. I mean, this is an Abe Lugo model. In fact, I think he and his significant other might own this one, the Morris Minor Saloon. We've seen a topless one. This is the hardtop version of that casting, done in a 70th anniversary deco, because Matchbox is celebrating their 70th anniversary this year. And you know, just that silhouette, all those details. I just know this is one that Abe has wanted to do. You can just tell by its style. So put that in the pile. And why don't we just go to something completely opposite of that? Round silhouette for sure, but very different. This was a new model, and I'm calling it a basic, even though it comes in its most premium line, the Mattel Creations. This is it came in the acrylic case. This is the Porsche 911 RSR. It's got a plastic spoiler. It seems like it's made, like it will show up in basic at some point. Maybe just the collector series, I don't know. But it has made its debut, not in the basic series, but in that Mattel Creations. And yeah, super detailed, supercar Porsche. This thing sold out in seconds. Really popular. And considered under these designations a basic, so maybe that's the one that you want to vote. Porsches are popular. This is the year of the Porsche, and so put that in there. Let's do the opposite. Another one that debuted in the Indiana Jones series. Auburn, right? Auburn Speeder, 1935 Auburn Speedster 851. Didn't see the movie, don't know the context. This is, but this definitely looks like it's from that era. And maybe there's a gunfight and whatever else. But that's a new casting done for Indiana Jones. We'll put that one over here. And let's go opposite again. Tesla Model S. Update maybe of the original Tesla Model S that Matchbox did, but this one is the updated, what, do they have a year on this one? They don't. But this has the updated grille. Do you call it a grille? Front end, whatever you want to call it, because these EVs don't have grills, but, well, maybe they do. But this is, yeah, it's nice to see this one. You know, the old Tesla casting, the Tesla Model S casting, had that oval that was made to look like a front grille, and then since Tesla said, no, we don't need that, and so they have this front end. Really nice looking. So there's probably other details that have changed. The silhouette's essentially the same, but I'd have to compare it with the old one. But nice to see that update, but that's a new enough model. Go back to classic. How about this one? This is definitely not a Matchbox stock version, but Hot Wheels did this in a more of a stock. Well, they did it lowered. And then Matchbox did this one, which is based on a real car, this off-road version of the, what is it, Honda, 1970 Honda N600 off-road. And from what I understand is there is a story behind, well, this casting represents an off-road Honda that I think was made by Honda for some sort of race and then kind of got lost, and I think it just recently was rediscovered. And it sits very similar to this, and it's an old rust bucket now, but I think there is some attempts to restore it. And this is based on that. I don't know if the racing livery is based on anything, but the casting itself is. So that's kind of a unique car. All right, where are we at? I'm going pretty fast. Let's go to another classic. The other one from the 70th series with the metal base, this is the Jag, along with that Porsche 910. This is the Jaguar DType. Unique car, very British rounded angles, that off-centered, what do you call that? Fin, I guess, on the side. This is such a unique car. Kind of like imprints in your brain if you've ever seen footage of it. I'm looking forward to this one, as a side note, in some more realistic liveries like a British Racing Green. And but this one gets that 70th anniversary treatment. I'm sure we're going to see this one very, very soon. I don't know if we'll ever see it in basic because of the metal base, unless they're going to do a plastic base for it. But it is considered, in our definition, a basic model. All right, one that actually debuted as a super chase. It's the Porsche Macan, not to be confused with the Cayenne. This is they have a year on this one? I don't think they do, just Porsche Macan. Another one that I can't get a total sense of the casting, only because it's got the chase, kind of the chase angles. It's clean. It's clean. I'd like to see it with the Matchbox plastic wheels, because I really like those. But yeah, debuted as a super chase. Had to go out and snag this one on eBay because I had not seen it, and so we could debut it as a new model, and that's what it is. So we have the first super chase new model. We've had a couple of super treasure hunt new models too. All right, one more current, one more classic. What would you call this classic? Well, we'll just finish off. This is the Mercedes. We haven't had a ton of Mercedes this year, but we do tend to get one or two a year. This is the, what's the name of this one? This is the Mercedes AMG SL63. This one debuts a new model, or a new wheel as well, more of a lace wheel, kind of modern style. Very, very welcome to see that in the Matchbox range. They haven't done a lot of new plastic wheels of late. This one is most welcome. And yeah, and we see that one. I could see this one used on a lot of different cars, Porsches, everything else, and that will be nice. It's not as concave as the 10-spoke wheel, so that one's really nice. And the casting, though, is what you're judging. That's a cool, nice convertible. And lastly, I'm looking here. Yep, the last one we'll show is this one, the Mazda RX8. I'm calling this a classic. I think at this point it can be considered that. 2004. That's 19 years ago, right? Mazda RX8 hasn't gotten a lot of love in the diecast world until this year, right? Hot Wheels did theirs for Fast and Furious, and Matchbox has done theirs, more of a factory style. I'll just say I like the Matchbox better in the factory style. Not really keen on the Fast and Furious version, but maybe this is the one that you think is the best, or maybe you think it's the one that's most disappointing for whatever reason. Ultimately, you get to decide. I have made a nice big hodgepodge of Matchbox cars. Look at that. All of those new models released this year, and all licensed. And it's just crazy to think that just a few years ago, not too long ago, Matchbox collectors were complaining about the lack of licensed stuff, which was totally valid, because it was just hardly any real licensed stuff coming out. And Matchbox has turned that and is putting out all kinds of great new models. You guys tell me what you think. Go and vote. LamleyGroup.com down below. There's the link. Vote on the one that you think is best and most disappointing, not worst. I've defined it every time. Hopefully you're ready to vote that way. Thanks, everybody. Bye.